Hi, it's Madeline again with Sister Luna's Psychic Services, and today we're going over the Wheel of Fortune card. Number 10. This card has got a lot going on. First of all, 10 feels like a number of completion, right? We often count to 10 or down from 10. Within the number 10, we have 1 and 0. And that brings me to my first point, the cyclical aspect of this card. Of course, a wheel is a circle, but within that we have a direct return to the Fool at 0 and to the Magician at 1. When this card comes up, you're almost back to that place of being the Fool again, because now you're entering new territory as he once did. However, the difference is that if you're at the Wheel of Fortune, you already have more experience. You have those 9 cards worth of experience backing you up. And the Magician, as you will likely remember from the video on him, is about manifestation. And so if you put those 2 cards together, if the seeds that the Magician has sown were good seeds, sown with the right intent and the right attitude, then the fortune that you reap will be a good one, right? The letters on the wheel itself, if you look, spell out the word tarot. T-A-R-O and then T again. And truthfully, the tarot is like this. It's a wheel or cycle. The Fool's story, just like any hero's journey, ends with a return to the beginning. So, who are all of these other folks? Look at all the characters on this card. There's no human character, which is different than most of the cards, but there are a lot of animals. So, we have an animal in each corner, and each of them is representing a fixed zodiac sign, or also an element of nature. This can illustrate for us that the core aspects of our personalities won't change with the flow of life. We are who we are, whatever the situation. Our strengths are what we can always fall back on, right? They will remain there for us. What is also interesting about this is that each animal, you have to look really closely. Each of them is reading a book. Yeah. So, why on earth are these animals all reading books? Well, I dug and I searched and I couldn't find anyone else's reasoning for this. So here's what I think. We must be willing to learn from the changes that the turn of the wheel brings us. We must always keep evolving and bettering our understanding even as we remain our essential selves. So that's the combined message with the fixed zodiac signs and the books. We also have a few friends here who seem to be riding the wheel as it turns. This red fellow here is Anubis, god of mummification. He was also present during the heart weighing ceremony, where the heart is weighed against a feather to determine the fate of that spirit. So he's associated with death in the spirit world in a couple different ways. Interestingly, Anubis actually had a daughter named Kebishet, who was a serpent goddess, and she was referred to as the one who refreshes and purifies the pharaoh. This makes sense, as snakes do shed their skin, purifying themselves. See, there's the snake there. Okay, so we also have the Sphinx here. So you can tell that there's really a lot of depth in this card, and I'm actually going to cover it more thoroughly in my in-person class. So if you're in the Calgary area, I definitely suggest that you come by, because there's a lot to learn. Everything is a cycle, essentially, right? Scientifically, you live, you die, you're decomposed, and then you contribute to the life of plants. that in and of itself is a form of rebirth, right? Beyond that, pretty much every religion out there has a story about this cycle, whether it's death and then the rebirth, like with Jesus, or reincarnation. It's everywhere, right? The wheel is turning, and this time it's turning in your favor when you get this card, right? Which is great. But you have to be willing to jump on this turning wheel of fate, you know? Otherwise it'll just roll right past you. So if the wheel comes up in your reading, you can be sure that an opportunity to broaden your horizons is coming. This is a very good card to get in a career or money spread, especially. It can mean that you are going to receive the funding you need for your project. It can mean that you're going to be offered a great opportunity to do something that you've always wanted to do, right? Especially like getting grants and that sort of thing. If you wanted to work abroad and that was an opportunity that you were looking at trying to get, this could be, if it comes up in your reading, it's probably a good sign for that happening. If you are involved in the stock market and you have done a good deal that is about to pay off, or a valuable stock that is about to come to your attention that you should definitely buy. In a general reading, it's a little bit more difficult to pin down the specific meaning of this card. If you see the wheel with, say, the Emperor card, you're probably looking at a promotion. With the Hierophant, maybe a scholarship. You need to interpret it alongside the other cards that are showing up in the spread. And sometimes when I do a spread and each card is just on its own thing and they're not really relating to each other, and I have a card that I can't fully interpret, I'll just pull another card and lay it down next to it to help bring some more clarity to that. So that might be a good thing to do with the wheel especially. If we're talking about love, the Wheel of Fortune tells like you're gonna have a fresh new chance at love and having fun. If you see the wheel coming up when you're struggling financially, if you're fighting with your partner about money, then you might come into the money that you need to resolve those issues, or if you're hoping to get married, you might get the money that you need for that. Traveling, that sort of thing. It could also signify that if you and your partner work together, or you work in similar fields where you can support each other, that your union might be really financially beneficial for both of you beyond being emotionally fulfilling, right? But again, we have to remember that in order to receive the fullness of the fortune, one needs to be open, needs to be trusting. You should counsel your querent to focus on their own worthiness. Remind them that they deserve to receive everything that they want, because this card brings so much. It brings so much that sometimes people are afraid to accept that. People are sometimes more afraid of success than they are of failure. So you really need to give pep talks sometimes, which seems ironic, but when you're delivering a lot of good news at once. You know, you don't want their own internal resistance to block that ability to receive these gifts of fortune. This is especially important if cards like the Nine of Swords are present in the reading, which is a lot of racing thoughts and worry, and other cards that are giving you a sense that this person might be resistant. Then be extra sure to give them that pep talk. If you can't come to my class, then I recommend that you read the book Hero of a Thousand Faces by Joseph Campbell. It will give you a better idea of the cyclical nature of the Fool's Journey, and it's an interesting read. He talks a lot about work by Carl Jung as well. Also, begin to notice the cycles that are apparent in life. Anytime you notice one, take a note of it in your tarot journal. Right? Like right now, it's almost spring equinox, which is Ostara. It's a celebration amongst pagans. And things that you might notice are some shoots coming up in your garden, seeing a robin, things like that. And you'll see wheels in almost every religion also. It's kind of the same as the story of rebirth. It's very often represented by a wheel. So, for example, the medicine wheel of Native American culture, the Celtic wheel of the year, which is the wheel of seasons. In Buddhism, you'll see them creating beautiful circular mandalas. It's all, this card is so much bigger than just meaning, you know, good things are coming to you. It's so much deeper than that, and there's so much to explore there. So yeah, even just studying cycles and the relation of cycles to all these different religions is really interesting. You start to realize that, you know, they're all coming from one place. So any, you know, arguments between them are silly. So my recommendations for you to connect with this card, check out that book and keep it a tarot journal. If you haven't started yet, that's okay. Start now. If you want, go back and make some notes on the previous cards of things that stuck out for you. And then as the card comes up in readings, record what you know, what it felt like it meant to you in that specific reading. And then after, if you have a moment where you realize, oh, this is exactly what that card was telling me, then record that as well. And that's really helpful, really great way for you to enrich your personal understanding of the cards. That's something that I can never teach you, right? That's your own intuition. That's your own creativity coming through. So that's a really great place to build on as well. Thank you for watching yet another one of these videos. I'm so excited to make these for you guys. And I also want to say that today you might notice there's this beautiful piece of art behind me. I'm in my wonderful partner's studio today. He vacated it for me so I could make this video. So I'm just going to show you this piece a little better. I explained to him the meaning of the Wheel of Fortune card, and I asked him which piece he thought I should do this video in front of, and he said this one. Change of Fortune. So there it is. I'll put a link to his website in the description if anybody's interested in looking at more of his work. Or if you want to get a print, or purchase an original, you can get into contact with him through there as well. Merry meet, merry part, merry meet again, happy Ostara.